Hello, I'm Nick Muldoon. My student number is 012979 and this is Prac 8A. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. My name's Nick. I'm one of the financial counsellors here.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Did you find the place okay?
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. Alright, so basically you're coming in, you've done the assessment, the initial assessment, filled out all the paperwork, which we love. So I've had a bit of a look at what's going on, but I'd love to hear from your point of view. Why did you come and see me today?
Yeah, so just having a bit of trouble balancing everything with finance at the moment, and I starting to struggle to make everything meet.
Yeah.
And I can foresee it becoming a bit of an issue and really want to jump on top of that. It's been a pretty stressful time at the moment.
So what's actually going on? What's happened?
Yeah, so I've recently moved out from the family home and split with my wife.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So it's been pretty tough, and emotionally, but also just financially trying to do both those things and actually rent a place for myself while still supporting kids and the wife and the mortgage and all that sort of stuff as well.
Okay, so you is your wife working?
No, she's settling payments at the moment.
Okay. So basically you're doing the mortgage.
Yep.
And the rent.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you've moved out.
Yeah, just around the corner. Yeah.
All right. So that's not too bad. You're still able to spend some time.
Yeah.
With the kid.
Yeah. Kids. Yeah. 2 kids.
2 kids.
2 kids.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And what else is going around? What's sort of becoming the issue here?
So trying to keep up with the debt payments, cars, the mortgage. I had to take a like one of those quick loans, and I haven't been able to make the last repayment on that, and they're sort of threatening a few things. I'm a little bit worried about the house.
Sounds like it's quite stressful and there's a lot going on.
Yep.
All right. So I've got the income and expenses here. So maybe I'll just confirm a few details. All right. So you're working full time at the moment?
Yeah, full time.
I think I've got you on about $17.50.
Yeah.
Fortnight.
That's a fortnight. Yeah.
Alright. How much is rent at the moment?
So rent's $500 a fortnight. Yeah.
Okay. And then we've got the mortgage, which I had. Is that $1,500 a month?
Yep.
Yep. $750 a fortnight.
Yep.
Okay. So I've got your expenses here, your everyday expenses. You're paying child support as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so just running through some of the debts. The credit card was $200 a fortnight. Is that right? Or $400 a month?
Yeah. You sure? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's what you put on the sheet.
Credit card $400 a month.
Yeah. Okay. And then you got that little personal loan.
Personal loan.
Now, I believe the personal loan, you've had a chat to them, they're on hold.
Yeah, they said they will put it on hold until after this meeting, and then we've got to come back to them and
that's fine.
the details. Yeah.
That's good. Credit card, we're a little bit worried about.
Yep. They said, so I missed last month's payment, and they say they might take court action or they were talking about like a warrant for the sale of the house.
Right.
I'm pretty worried about that.
Okay.
What that involves.
Okay. All right. So priority-wise, keep the house.
Yeah.
Manage the debts.
Yeah.
Keep house, manage debts, and sort out this credit card.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. All right. So based on that, look, with your income taken away, your everyday expenses. There's cash left over, obviously, so you can support yourself.
Yeah.
So when we start taking into account all these debts, that the trouble seems to start. Okay. Well, there's a few options with all of this. So I mean, I can give you a couple of options based on what you've told me. We can work together on them. I mean, it's really up to you. You know, you're the master of your own destiny. You know, I understand it's a tough time. There's a lot going on. You know, stress, maybe a bit of guilt as well. Yeah. All right. So, a few options. So I'll just run through them with you. The first option to help manage this is take on a little bit more income, increase the income. Okay. Now, one way to do that, I mean, you're working 40 hours a week. Gig economy seems to be pretty popular now. Hustle economy, a lot of people are doing it. Doesn't mean it's right. Second job. Do something that might be a little bit more fun, enjoyable, a few extra bucks, you know, a week. Thing with that though is, you know, it's taking time away to see the kids, and there's stress. You know, you're working more. So 40 hours is arguably a lot. You know, 50, 60 is a lot as well, even more. Reducing expenditure is another one. So while we can increase the income, we can drop the expenses. So, I mean, just a couple of options that I've sort of had a look at is, you know, you're quite close to the current house, and that's $250 a week. If you were to look at, say, a second property, maybe the rent would be a little bit cheaper for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to be as close to the kids, but it's going to be better to help you manage these debts. Another option with that as well is, you know, having a chat to Grace about splitting some of these bills. Now, can I ask why you are spending all of it, or you're doing?
Just really, there's a bit of guilt with it, wanting to look after the kids. Some of the debts from some past gambling of mine.
Okay.
I don't really want to put that on.
Okay.
There and the kids.
All right.
We do kind of hopeful that we might be able to work it out and get back together.
Okay. Look, I understand you're probably putting yourself through a lot right now. You know, it's all my fault. You know, there's a lot. But at this stage, you know, you're kind of starting to struggle.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, is that worth it? So, might be a good idea to have a think about chatting to Grace about maybe managing this. I don't know what's going to happen long term. You guys have to work that out. But I understand the guilt. But it might be something. I mean, it will be a hard conversation. There are support services for you as well that I can always refer you to. Might be a good option. But obviously, you're paying rent, you're paying a mortgage, and you're paying child support. Maybe you can cut some of that off and make things a little bit easier for you. All right. Now, with just sort of setting up some of the debts as well. I've got 2 cars here.
Yeah.
So one you guys own outright.
We own both of them outright.
You do own both
Yeah.
of them outright, yeah, that personal loan is. So, okay, so Grace has the one that's a little bit more expensive and you got the $8,000 one. Okay. Look, one option as well, selling some assets to get rid of these debts. I mean, you don't have a car. You and Grace could discuss with this one as well, $18,000 or $8,000 taken off, or just put on these debts. It means you don't have to pay as much each fortnight.
Yeah.
Okay. I did one after selling a car. I mean, basically your net position is basically $650 in the red each fortnight. So after selling a car and paying some of the debts off, I've got you down to $230. And then, ideally say, hey, look, if you're still paying the mortgage and the rent but no child support, then that gets you into the clear.
Okay.
All right. But that's by selling the car.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go through this and give you a bit more info as well. The last option as well is, look, this credit card. Have a chat to them. Negotiate what you can. Have you received anything from the credit card company, like a default letter, or have they just called you and said?
They've called.
They just called.
Yeah.
And they said. Did they say anything about a warrant or?
They said they'd look at obtaining a warrant.
Okay. To take the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So with that, basically we've got to have a chat to them. It's a bit of a pain in the butt, but it's probably better. Taking it back a step, with your legal rights in regards to repossession and, when you start falling behind. There's 2 things here. For one, the credit card company doesn't have a mortgage on your house, so they can't take your house without going to court.
Right.
Okay. If you have a mortgage, then you can get a warrant. So I think they're trying to scare you. Another thing, they have to send you a default letter.
Yeah, haven't had any letters.
Yeah. So once you get a letter, they then tell you exactly what to do, how to fix it. They can't just threaten to take your house.
Right.
When you get that letter, there's also a lot of information about how to try and remedy it. So what they should be doing is giving you an option to chat to someone like me, and then we can put things on hold and figure out what to do.
Okay.
So it seems like they're a bit gung-ho. With that in mind, can they take the house? Possibly, after a long period and after you're notified of going to court.
Okay.
And after we would possibly look at getting some legal assistance. But for now, no, they can't do that to you. So what would be a good idea is giving them a call, organise, say, hey, I'm in financial hardship, and put things on hold and just figure out what we need to do to get it done. Okay? That was a lot. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's sort of, they're pretty threatening on the phone, so.
Yeah, well they've probably got sales targets and pretty unacceptable, but they shouldn't be doing that. Alright. So with that in mind, what are you thinking?
Bit not super confident about talking to them on the phone after the last call.
Okay.
Last 2 calls. But I understand it needs to be done, but I'm worried that they're going to say things that aren't quite right, and I'm not going to know what's right and what's wrong, and it's going to get tricky.
Would you like me to help with that?
That would be helpful. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can do that. I can speak to them.
Yeah. I think looking at possibly selling a car could work. Being so close to the house, even though it is more a fortnight, does mean less need for perhaps 2 cars. So that could work. And I guess, yeah, we could look at the costs of things and what I'm paying and what Grace is paying. If I am paying everything, then yeah, perhaps the child support, we could come to a bit of an agreement with that.
Okay. How do you feel about talking to Grace about that one?
Look, it won't be easy, but I think, we'll be able to do it.
I mean, just to maybe help you with some of the guilt. I mean, how's the gambling been going? Have you?
I haven't touched it in over a year.
Yeah? No, congratulations. That's really good. That's...
I want to get better. Make it better.
If you want, I can give you the number of someone, just if you think things are starting to unbuckle, get a bit wobbly, you want a bit of assistance with talking to people who you may have upset in the past, might help you. I can give you a number for someone as well. Yeah?
That'd be good.
Alright, that's fine. Cool. So it sounds like, look, there was a lot going on, a lot of debts, but we've sat down, we've run through some options. I think at this stage, we've got to get this credit card under control. Okay, we're looking at selling the car, which you're happy to do, and have a chat to Grace to just see what we can do with the expenses. All right. I think that's good. So I was going to do the credit card. You were going to do the looking to selling the car and speaking to Grace. Sounds like a good little plan.
Yeah.
Did you have any other thoughts, questions?
No, I think it's good to, make some progress. Can't stick your head in the sand.
Yeah.
We've got to do something.
Well, and that's why you come to see me as well.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. Well, look, we'll start moving with that. As I said, we've had a look at the finances, and we'll keep going, and I'll speak to you next time.
Yep, sounds good.
Not a problem. Thanks, Dean. Hi, just doing the review. So I've basically drawn a notes template based on what was in the form, and I've got all the income and assets. So income and assets, I basically copied or written it all down from the sheet. So I basically had that the net position is $522, but their net position after debt was minus $653. So initially I played around with a few figures and saw that after selling the car and getting rid of some debts, that his net position would be minus 228. And then if he was, say, to remove the child support, he'd basically be in a positive position again. So they were just some ideas. I kind of just played around with the income and expenses, but obviously I left it to Dean. In regards to the notes, client name I'll just read out. So Dean Cook, session 1, today's date. Notes, I had troubles with balancing debts, stressful time, has moved out and split with wife Grace, moved house, renting close by, 2 kids, missed repayment on personal loan, missed repayment on credit card. I put ran through income and expenses and confirmed. Priorities, keep house, manage debt, sort out credit card threats. So I put a note here about gambling issues, however not gambled in a year. Ran through a number of options in detail. I had the options here, so credit card, negotiate with firm, financial counsellor, so it would be responsible. Dean would be responsible for selling the car, and Dean would be responsible for negotiating or talking to Grace about some of the expenses. Yeah, I think just personally, I think that was a little bit longer. Maybe I went into a bit too much detail, I feel. I think it was quite a juicy one. Like, you can tell the pracs are getting a little bit more complex, and you can take it. There's no one. I suppose with the previous pracs, they were a little bit simpler. There was sort of one simple answer. These are a bit more realistic, where there is no one right answer, and you've got to run with the client and just let them decide what's best for them, as long as you can help them with some ideas and let them talk. I felt I really went into detail with the legislation, maybe too much, but that brings up the next point. Which legislation applies to the client's situation? So it was the National Consumer Credit Protection Act. So basically, this has created a uniform national credit law which regulates credit industry participants as well as credit contracts and transactions. So the whole point of it is to protect consumers and the economy by encouraging responsible lending. And in our case, provide some flexibility in response to financial hardship. So this is really good for Dean because it gives him the right to gives him some provisions and gives him the right to apply for financial hardship. So instead of all these companies going gung-ho and taking all these assets, he gets to basically take a little bit more time to get it sorted and go from there. He also has the right to apply for a moratorium. He has a right to put the process on hold if he has a complaint to put through with an internal or external dispute resolution process. He must get written confirmation from finance providers within 21 days. So this legislation is really good for helping people when they're in trouble. So basically, in Dean's case, it's really just to put things on hold, like with the personal loan, give them some time to sort things out. And I think we discussed it in the role play as well. All right, thank you.